Culture is a group of people who share the same beliefs and behaviors. It can be anything from race to sex, ethnicity, social status, background, and anything really, even in a workplace, because people from different niches, as small or big or wide they are, they share the same behaviors and ideas.
It's like people that have the same values or traditions that they practice. Well, in Black culture, I identify with that with my family, of course. We do things different than other races sometimes, and sometimes we do it the same. It just depends on whatever we're doing.
I was born in Albania. I'm from Albania, but I moved in Greece, so I grew up there. And then 2 years ago I came here. So I don't really feel like I identify with a specific one, but it depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about family, I would say that I feel more Albanian because I was raised to think of my relatives as myself and my friends as my relatives. So I have really strong bonds with the people around me. If I talk about my educational culture, I feel more like I'm Greek, because this is where I did all my school and all the people I know, they're from there. I don't really feel tied to a specific culture. I think that I'm more of a blend.
Women. When I was growing up, women could not get a credit card by themselves. They could not rent an apartment unless daddy signed for it too. They couldn't buy a car. They couldn't go to Harvard. They were totally oppressed. And I grew up with that whole women's movement and how hard it was to fight for it and everything it took to get where we are now. So that's the thing I identify with the most.
Football does have its own culture because we kind of build a bond out there, so we're kind of our own family and we have our way of doing things. Like, we treat each other a certain type of way, like brothers on the team. We treat our coaches like they're our parents, they're our own. Football is different from other cultures by, like, when we reward each other, we will pat on the back or the butt. Like a classroom setting, I would never do that. It's very different. It's a different culture where that's acceptable in football, but in the real world or just in a different setting, that's not what we need to do. I'm
Irish American. That's a very big impact. It's funny because I'm only like a quarter Irish, but that was the part of us that we celebrated when I was growing up, because you have your own holiday, you know, we'd wear the green and all the things and the whole 9 yards.
I think that moving from different cultures and different countries, you can learn a lot of things and you can see differences. Some differences that I see, for example, being raised in Greece and in Albania, I can see the difference by if I was raised here. We have different bonds with people and our family. My uncle is like my father, for example. Of course, it doesn't apply to all the families, but I think that generally speaking.
It would be so boring if we were all the same. It really is. I mean, that's why, like I said, I embrace other cultures, because I think it's really interesting to see how other people live, how other people feel, what they think about things, what foods they eat, all that type of thing. So I think it's real. I mean, life would be so boring if there was no diversity.